Let's take a closer look at what's involved with dimension security. Essentially, we can create sets of members that are either allowed or denied. For example, if we create a set of allowed members, then the user can only see the members that are identified in that set. Or conversely, if we configure a denied set, then the user can see all members in the dimension except for those members that are listed in the denied set. In general, dimension security restricts access to members of a specific attribute hierarchy. Here's an example of the group attribute hierarchy in the territory dimension, where the only member allowed for the user is Europe. Here's an example of the metadata tree where we can see all of the members that this user can see. Europe in the group attribute hierarchy. None of the other members, NA, North America, Pacific, or Territory Unknown, are visible. The user cannot see that these other members exist. But notice also in the user hierarchy that Europe is again the only member visible, but the children of Europe, France, Germany, and United Kingdom, are visible, even though our attribute security did not explicitly include those members, nor did it explicitly exclude the countries from the other groups. The attribute relationship definition for the territory dimension controls security across all user hierarchies based upon the attribute hierarchy security. Another option that we have when we're configuring dimension security is to specify a default member. This is just a convenience to provide an automatic filter of a member. So for example, if we had department managers who wanted to see sales for their respective departments, we could configure a default member for the bikes manager, a default member for the accessories manager, and so on. That way, every time they run a query, they don't have to explicitly ask for bikes or accessories. The filter just automatically applies. But that's not the same as restricting access to members. If they had a query that asked for all product categories, for example, they'd be able to get that information as long as they were allowed access to those other members. So a default member is just a way to facilitate filters in queries automatically, and we'll see an example of that in a demonstration later. We also have the ability to enable visual totals. When visual totals are enabled, the grand total gets filtered. So for example, when visual totals are not enabled, and we have dimension security restricting the user to Europe alone, we can see the sales for Europe, but we can also see the grand total sales for all groups. Whereas if we enable visual totals, then the grand total is restricted to the sum of the members that the user can see. In this case, the grand total equals the sales amount for Europe.